Hello there, welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly and tonight I have an outdoorsy 2-page scrapbooking layout for you here that has lots and lots of photos. This is a continuation from my previous video in which I bonded with my paper pumpkin kit. So here I am, a newbie subscriber to the paper pumpkin subscription as a new Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So I received my May kit called The Best There Is, and it's a Father's Day focused card kit that creates 9 cards. So in my previous video, I created one each of the 3 card designs, and I loved it. They were great. They were easy and they are quality ingredients, and I love the cards. Then I went on to create this 2-page scrapbooking layout out of the leftovers using just what's in the kit. I did add a few adhesive back textured dots, as well as some cardstock from the Neutrals collection. I love how it turned out. I love everything about it, but when I got to the end of creating those 3 cards in that layout, look how much I had left over. I had so many ingredients left over, and this was really me keeping it basic because I was bonding with the kit, not knowing how much product is in there, how much if I could stretch it, and how many layouts I would be able to get out of a kit like this. Honestly, especially if I hadn't made the 3 cards, I could have very easily made 3 2-page layouts, probably even 4 2-page layouts out of the ingredients that came in the kit, but I just wasn't sure. So I'm going to continue on and create another 2-page layout with the leftovers, and I have a lot of scenery photos here I don't end up using, but when we hiked the Badlands National Park, we took a lot of photos of the foliage and the plant life because we have a Seek app that tells us about that. But we actually hiked the Notch Trail, which starts down here and you go all the way up. You climb up this staircase that puts you along this huge ridge that's way up high, and then you see the most breathtaking views once you climb all the way up and make it to the ridge. So this is the stairs, which takes a minute, and you get all the way up the stairs, and then you can see my daughter and my granddaughters way far away. I had to zoom way in to see them from the bottom. I wanted to stay at the bottom to get them at the top, and then you can see that you can climb across the ridge once you get on top. So the Notch Trail, of course, there are rattlesnake warnings, but there are so many trails that you can take, from really easy to really, really hard. And the Badlands National Park is absolutely gorgeous. It's amazing with porous hills and valleys. But I'm going to add a couple of the close to my heart signature flip-flaps to this layout so that I can add more photos. So the reason I'm showing the flip-flaps is Stampin' Up! Actually purchased some intellectual property from Close to My Heart when they closed, and it included our patent for our flip-flaps. So they are going to be adding flip-flaps to their lineup, and I'm so excited because these are a go-to for previous Close to My Heart makers. And I just know that Stampin' Up! Demonstrators are going to love them. So this particular size is a 4x4. So I've mounted a 4x4 photo on a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mat. Then I've inserted extra photos into the pocket, and you can actually adhere that behind the original photo or on the front of your page protectors. So I've reached back into the Neutrals collection that I used on the first layout. And we have Misty Moonlight cardstock as the base that I gutted, and I made a 1-inch frame all the way around and added an 11 1/4 by 11 1/4 white daisy to the front of each of those. But trying to stay true to the previous layout and some of the technique in the previous layout, there was some stamping that they showed us to stamp a leaf flourish on top of some of the actual flourish leaves. And then I also did a little bit of rubbing of some of the Misty Moonlight ink in the background and did a little stamping. So I'm going to stay true. I like to stay true to a certain theme whenever I'm creating with the same materials, and I'm trying to get multiple layouts out of one set of products. So when I use a certain technique on one of the layouts with that theme, I like to carry through and use some of similar techniques as I go. So I know already which areas are going to show on the layout layout that I'm going to create here. So I'm rubbing off some of that misty moonlight onto scrap paper and then gently rubbing with a blending brush. Now these kits are designed for minimalists, people that really don't want to buy a lot of extra product or have a lot of extra product on hand. So you could definitely do some rubbing with a cotton ball and probably get a similar look. I'm also pressing some of that little pad that came right in the kit. And if you want to see all the ingredients that came in the kit, refer back to my previous video where I go over the entire kit contents. And I'll link that right here up on top, on the top right, on certain devices, and in the more section. When you click on more in the description, you can see it. But I've actually pressed that mini stamp pad into my all-purpose mat, added a little water, and then done a little bit of sprinkling with a water brush there. And you could probably do that on the back of a spoon or a writing utensil and get that same effect. So now I'm actually again reaching into the neutrals here, and I believe this is early espresso. So I have a 6 1/4 by 10 1/2, and then I have a 2 1/2 by 10 1/2. So the larger piece on the left and then the smaller piece on the right, and we're going to balance that a little bit. Then I'm going to cut up one of the card bases to end up with a 4 by 4, and I'm going to put another piece of one of the card bases on there, and it's going to be a 3 by 3, and then I'm going to add a photo mat on there, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 white, and then a 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 photo on the top. Then the brown cardstock base that actually has the hexagon on it, I've also cut that down, trimmed that down to 4 by 4, and then I have some strips on the right that I'm actually cutting 3 1/4 by 2, and I have 5 of those strips from the existing card bases. And then on the right, they're a tiny bit smaller. They are 2 by 2 1/2. Again, those same colors cut out of those same card bases. I'm actually using a pattern from our Make It From the Heart Volume 6. I wanted to keep this really pattern oriented, to keep in mind that we're just trying to use up existing product that came in the kit, and we're trying not to add any extras. We're just trying to use what we have. And so I'm going to use those flip flaps. That is one addition. And then the textured dots I'm going to add is another addition. And so I love using patterns for simple layouts, especially for minimalists or simple scrappers. Those simple scrappers that really like things to be easy to reduplicate. And so I'm using a pattern base. Now, I talked in my previous video how we're going to be feeling a pattern deficit with the closure of Close to My Heart. And so I do know that the CDT, the Creative Design Team here on YouTube, if you look them up, they do have pattern books that they offer, that each person from the Creative Design Team has contributed patterns to a pattern book. I haven't actually used them or seen their pattern books other than the YouTube videos that they do, but I know each of the individuals that contributes to that are amazing, and so I can expect nothing less out of their pattern books. So if you want to check those out, you can. And then I'm holding out hope that Stampin' Up! Eventually comes out with pattern books as well. They are going to have directions and patterns in their up-and-coming Stampin' Up! Created workshop kits that are going to debut in September. So stay tuned for that. So I'm actually going to put this early espresso piece, and it actually looks darker than the pictures, but it is a quite dark piece. And I actually felt like I had frayed pieces from the cutter because it is a thicker cardstock, but they actually just brush right off. So if you have a few little extra tags, you can just brush those off with the scissors. Now we're going to leave about 1/8 of an inch or a little more than 1/8 of an inch at the top. And we're going to put all of these strips flush down the side. Again, these are 3 1/4 by 2 cut out of those remaining card bases that were left over after we already created 3 cards and a 2-page layout. So look at how much we've gotten out of the Paper Pumpkin kit. So I said I would do an honest review of the Paper Pumpkin kit, and A, quality materials, B, plenty of materials. Really, really love that. I was pleased with the card design. So even if I was going to make the original kit exactly as was, I would absolutely love it. And did you know you can get a refill kit? So of course, the Paper Pumpkin subscription is an estimated approximately around $25, $26 a month for the kit. And you can get it at different levels because you can get a 1 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, and a 12 month. And I believe you get a break the more months you get. And I believe you may, don't quote me on this, even get free shipping when you do a 12-month subscription. So it gets cheaper and cheaper per kit as you go longer. But you can actually get refill kits. So your first kit will of course include a stamp and an ink pad and some extras. And so on the refill kit, you would just get the pieces needed to use that original stamp and ink pad. And so it's only $12 for a refill kit. So if you have the subscription and you've paid the 25 or 26 estimated dollars there per month for that, you can get additional refill kits. Now these refill kits are only available to subscribers. You can't go in and buy a refill kit if you're not a subscriber, and that gives you all those same ingredients. So let's say you wanted to make all 9 cards with the original set and then make layouts with the refill. I really feel like you could get 3 2-page layouts easy, and maybe you could even eke out a 4th 2-page layout out of the ingredients in that kit. I'm loving it, and I'm loving how these are turning out. So you can see that I'm actually just designing my pockets. So I'm adding that 4x4 distressed wood grain piece with the 3x3 kind of tan card base background and a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 white daisy piece with a 2.5 by 2.5 inch photo for that left pocket. And then I'm adding a 4x4 photo on the inner flap, and then a 4x4 photo on a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mat. So all of the photo mats are 1/4 inch. So I actually ended up with 5 4x4s, 3 that were 3x4 horizontal, and 1 4x6 vertical photo. So I actually have 9 photos on this single layout, and I could have gotten by with more if I didn't want the decorative element on the top of the flip flap. But you know me, I love that decorative element. So now that I have the photos in place, I'm going to pull off the adhesive back. I'm going to line up the photo so that it lines up on that 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 mat, and it covers that original 4x4 photo perfectly. Flip that adhesive piece underneath and then press it down so that that flap will open up, and then you have extra photo opportunities. Again, many people put their flip flaps on the top of the page protectors once their pages are inside the page protectors. Some people will actually cut slits into their page protectors and slide those flip flaps through as well. So it's any way that you prefer to do it. And so that way they're able to have an interactive element without pulling the pages out of the page protector. But for the purposes of the video today, I'm just adhering those flip flaps to the behind the photos. And for this one, I'll probably make slits in my page protectors to have those come through, but often I will just adhere those to the front of the page protectors. And Stampin' Up! Has page protectors coming. So how exciting. 12 by 12 page protectors are also something that will be coming in the future to Stampin' Up! Because they did buy that intellectual property from close to my heart before they closed as well. So I don't know all of the details. I know that it involves patents. it involves copyrights, it involves the intellectual property of close to my heart that they had to negotiate and they had to buy. So we will be getting some new things. Some of those things will be incorporated into existing Stampin' Up! Product. Some of those things will be modified. Some of those things will be available exactly as they were in Close to My Heart, but they will now be owned by Stampin' Up! And produced by Stampin' Up! And sold by Stampin' Up! So it's super exciting. You're going to want to stay tuned as you watch the bridge product come through in July and August, and then you watch as there is a groundbreaking 12 by 12 scrapbooking program that will be launched, designed and launched by Stampin' Up! So I'm so excited. It is patterned off of Close to My Heart's example, at least initially for sure. And so there will be paper packs and sticker sheets. There will be extra specialty paper that come in the kits. There will be coordinating Stampin' Thin cuts that you can get with the kits. There will be photo place card holders. There will be coordinating cardstock and instructions. So it's so exciting. So exciting. And Stampin' Up! Will have all of their original amazing products as well. All right, so we're just finishing off the second flip flap. So we have that 4x4 piece that came out of the card base, and we're going to add a photo underneath and then a photo on the photo mat underneath so that that flips up. And then we're adding the vertical 4x6 over to the right. Now, this hexagon, I actually didn't have enough of the stitched hexagons that came in the original kit because I actually cut those in half for the previous layout, and I used all of them. So before I cut those in half, I actually laid that on some extra white daisy cardstock. And I created some extras in case that I needed that shape. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to do some background stamping. So the stamps that came in this kit are really Father's Day oriented, but you can actually use them as background stamps because they have great little bits in them. So this particular stamp says, with love and admiration to the most amazing person. But by using it back and forth as a background stamp under the 4x6 vertical photo by second generation stamping, meaning I'm going to stamp off and then stamp again, stamp off and stamp again. So I'm actually making one of those kind of more to the left, stamping one of those more to the right, and then stamping again more to the left, and only bits and pieces of that stamp are going to show. So you're not going to even feel like it's a Father's Day stamp. You're going to see words like love, admiration, amazing. And so it's going to fit in perfectly because my granddaughters are amazing and I love and admire their adventurous spirit as well as my daughters. Now I want to create a title, but again, the only thing we have are the Father's Day stamps. So I'm going to do a little bit of masking, and I'm going to use a little bit of masking tape to mask off the stamp that actually says, let's see, this is, oh gosh, now I can't remember. I gotta look it up here. I have it here. You're the best there is. So I actually want to say best day. So I have one stamp that says you're the best there is, and another stamp that says Happy Father's Day to you. So I want to use the best from You're the Best There Is and the day from Happy Father's Day. So I'm going to mask off a little spot so that when I stamp You're the Best There Is, only the best will show through in the middle because you've masked off the rest. Now I'm going to repeat that performance, and I'm going to mask off almost all of the Father's Day stamp except for the word day. So I'm going to strategically place that so that I can cover it up with the masking tape and put day over to the right, and then I'm thinking I'm going to add the little leaf flourish. So we're going to make make do with all of the stamps that came right in the Paper Pumpkin kit for May and make it work for a general outdoors theme. It's so easy to do, and you just simply mask off the parts that you don't want to stamp on your piece. Sometimes it can be a little tricky, but I find that if I turn the stamp upside down and kind of measure where it is, then, and I can even mark in pencil if I need to, and then I can just stamp with just the little bit. So just put the tiny bit of ink on day, turn it over, and then where I have it masked off, I'm going to stamp day just where day will show, and the rest of it will be taken away with that masking tape. So cool. So now I'm going to come back in with regular strength Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to make leaves again here, and then I think that I will tie those leaves together with a textured dot, and there's my title. So we didn't have to worry about pulling a title off of the Cricut or pulling a title off somewhere else. And I'm actually going to use a blending brush and blend over the top of that title just a little bit. Now, I keep trying to grab things because I'm so used to grabbing from my stash. So I go in and I was going to grab a little mini ink blending brush, but my whole point of this kit is to not add extra things. So I decided to use the side of the stamp pad to do a little inking on that, and it worked fantastic. You didn't need a mini ink blending tool, but it's my go-to when I want to ink edges. Okay, so you totally can use your mini ink blending tool if you have one, but you can use the edge of the mini stamp pad. Now we have 3 of these elongated hexagons left, and I thought these would be great for journaling. So I'm going to toggle them. I'm going to put one underneath the photo of Ramsey Kate. Then I'm going to put another one more to the left so only the right part of the hexagon shows, and then one more toward the bottom, and toggle them back and forth. We have one of these little rectangles left, and I think it's Misty Moonlight colored, and we can put that off to the side. We still have a tree circle left, and we have quite a few flourishes left. And I can't remember if I already stamped on those flourishes. I think that I did, to stay true to the original workshop where they stamped the leaves on the ends of the leaves, which was really neat. It just made them look speckled. And I like how they did that. Nope, I didn't do it. So I'm doing it now. So I'm just stamping that leaf randomly on the edges of this leaf flourish to give them a speckled look. And it's really kind of a fun technique that they taught on the original card kit. So cute. So again, I really am honest when I say I feel like the Paper Pumpkin contents are quality. I feel like you get plenty, whether you're just making the original cards or whether you're going to turn that into something else. So I have literally seen Stampin' Up! Demonstrators who are well versed in Paper Pumpkin, and they've had lots of experience with Paper Pumpkin. I've seen them do absolutely incredible things with the Paper Pumpkin kits. I just watched Rachel Tessman, who is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I watched her with, not this month, but I think it was the previous month, where she made an interactive, oh my, I don't even know what she did. She scored and she did all these things, and it was interactive, and it was like 3D, and she made these boxes and these fun folds and all of these crazy things out of it. And I've seen even close to my heart, former close to my heart demonstrators make pages and elevated cards. And I'm opting to keep it as simple as I can with the same ingredients, because the purpose of it is to have it be simple to put together and easy to put together. And I may do some elevating like others are doing, because that's what we do, right? We just want to do change ups. But sometimes I feel like I can take the most simple, easy things to put together and make them completely complicated and hard, where the purpose of the kit is to keep it simple and to be able to have all the ingredients that you need in one kit. So I like that I'm able to create these pages by just basically adding cardstock and a little bit of bling. And it really means a lot to me to be able to do that. So now I've taken that little stitched arrow piece that came right in the kit to make an arrow pointing down to the girls. They look so tiny up there at the way top, and I've actually zoomed way in on that photo. And so I've backed that with that striped wood grain piece. There was enough left over to back that and really make that stand out. And I cut all of the remaining flourishes in half so that I could use some in different places and create a wonderful visual triangle by making a cluster on the lower left of the left page, the upper right of the left page, and the middle of the right page. And it doesn't need to be these enormous clusters, just that your eye goes across all the photos on the left and back down across the photos on the right, that it draws your eye across the important pieces, which is your subjects. Loving it, loving it. Got my journaling there in place, adding my flourishes, and I'll definitely add some embellishments. So we have that splatter. So we've stayed true to the first layout that we created in the previous video, where we did the ink rubbing and the splatter with the ink pad painting or splattering. We've added flourish clusters just like we did in the first one. We have our story that we've told, and we have 9 photos that we're able to get on this layout. And guess what? There are still leftovers, but I'm going to call it good with this paper pumpkin kit, except I really think we could jazz this up or zhuzh this up with some banners. There's so many little pieces left over that that I truly think now in my review that a minimum of 3 2-page layouts out of the paper pumpkin kit this month, easy to do, and probably 4 2-page layouts. So I created the 3 cards and 2 2-page layouts, but I'll go ahead and give you some measurements, some final measurements here of my my dovetailed banners. So on the left-hand side, the dovetailed banners, well, I'll do left and right. So the blue wood grain, I have a 1.5 by 2 and a 3/4 by 1.5 are the 2 sizes of the blue wood grain. The striped wood grain, I have a 2 by 2 and a 3/4 by 1 when all is said and done. The dark brown, I have a 1/2 by 3/4. The tan, I have a 1.5 by 1.5. Those are the final sizes of those banner pieces, and I'm going to strategically place those banners on the right page there, just so it toggles right up next to that hexagon, that elongated hexagon, and doesn't cover the words, but kind of overlaps the words a little bit to make it look cohesive. So I think we have color balance. I think we have cluster balance. I think we have a theme that we've carried through, and that theme started with the cards and went through with both of the layouts. We added a little second generation word stamping for distress stamping off to the side. We added a little bit of ink blending and splattering using the ingredients that already came right in the kit. We were able to create a custom title out of Father's Day stamps, but make it generic and outdoorsy, and it's just called The Best Day. And I think we were able to take something that was very theme specific with theme specific stamps and create beautiful outdoor layouts with them. And I am very happy that I did my Paper Pumpkin subscription. So in July, starting in July, anyone who has subscribed to Paper Pumpkin here in June or any months hereafter, using my subscription link, which is linked in the description here, or just simply go to my shop site, www.snipsbykelly.stampinup.net, and subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, and you will be added to my private group, Snips by Kelly Paper Pumpkin Plus, and we are going to focus every single month. You will get videos every single month on how to create scrapbook layouts with your Paper Pumpkin subscription. I'm so happy I subscribed. I think we're going to get great multi-themed layouts out of these kits. And wow, look at what we've got already out of our very first kit. Now, had I been bonded, I could have created an additional page or 2, but I wanted to just give it a try first. So we have 3 cards and 2 2-page layouts out of this first kit. I hope you've loved it. Let me know what you've thought lot about paper pumpkin and stretching paper pumpkin to scrapbooking pages. I think you're going to see Stampin' Up! Demonstrators and former Close to My Heart makers just killing it with this. I love these kits. Thanks so much. Hit like and subscribe. See you soon.